one of the most popular character archetypes floating around. It seems that in every anime involving fights, there's always one guy who erupts at the slightest provocation, never backs down, and generally drags the whole team into the mess he's recklessly made. However, people can't help but root for this guy, mainly due to how cool, strong, or otherwise badass they really are. You know the type of character I'm talking about, don't you? So here's what we're going to do today. In this video, I'll be taking some of the most hot-headed and badass characters, putting them together, and letting you decide how they hold up against each other. With a plethora of characters to go through, let's get on with it.
Got the power, there's no limit. Unstoppable, no killing. Everything I do, give it down with it. I don't stop, too big, bigger than it.
Starting off is Chuya from Bungou Stray Dogs. The Port Mafia executive perfectly fits the mold of the fiery redhead character. Don't let the short stature fool you, Chuya's as hot-headed as characters come, exemplified by his tendencies to quickly pick a fight. And as a Port Mafia executive, what's to fear? After all, he wields the amazing ability to control gravity. Left alone, the results show completely destructive potential, even potentially threatening his own life should he lose control of the final form. It even puts him in a berserker state to boot, and all of a sudden, explaining why Chuya belongs to this list suddenly becomes a lot easier. Remember Samurai Champloo? If you do, you'll probably know who our second candidate is. Yes sir, I'm talking about a hot-headed swordsman, Mugen. One of the three main characters, Mugen's a violent and incredibly brash rogue who's always out for a fight. A blood knight who never knows how to say no, he's one of the most combustible elements on the show. With a personality like that, you have to have the skills to back it up so you don't get your ass handed to you. Good thing that Mugen has no shortage of fighting skills and heart. Needless to say, he makes a case for the most badass character in his own show, even more so than the other characters who are on par with him in terms of strength. Where else do you see an OP swordsman fight while dancing like he does? Raikage's a shoo-in on this list. If someone's battle tactics boil down to attacking straight up with lots of hits and wrestling moves, that character certainly counts as a badass hothead to me. He's prone to making grand entrances and attack enemies on sight, as Sasuke learned the hard way. Getting to his position and holding onto it ain't easy, and it takes a complete badass to do so in the tough world of the Hidden Cloud Village. Until Naruto took the title away from him, Raikage is widely considered the fastest shinobi alive, fittingly done in tandem with his lightning powers. His showing against Sasuke and Akatsuki also mark him as one of the toughest SOBs in Naruto. He's a perfect brother for someone like Killer Bee. The guy in the main party with all the brawn and no brains isn't exactly expected to be the brightest guy in the room, is he? For one, he can't even say Tanjiro's name properly, famously mangling it numerous times, the most hilarious one being the impassioned Kentaro he belted during the Rui arc. For what intelligence he lacks, Inosuke makes up for it with heart, passion, and how badass he is. A colorful and creative fighter, Inosuke dazzles his opponents with his relentless attacks and determined passion in battle. He may seem to be the one who forgoes strategy in favor of charging head-on, but you sure as hell better be prepared to catch his head-on charge, or he'll just plow straight through you in an instant while yelling "Pig Assault!" There's really something about these Spitfires that attract a sizable part of the fan base to them. Perhaps it's their strong personality, or perhaps it's the way they react that results in some comedy, intentional or not. My Hero Academia's Bakugo has no shortage of both. The spiky hair, explosive powers, and loud mouth present all you need to know about Bakugo. Honest, driven, and dangerously competitive, he embodies the word hot-headed as far as My Hero Academia characters are concerned. And with that hot-headedness is a badass that refuses to take no for an answer. When else do you regularly see a hot-headed side character or a rival regularly beat the hell out of the protagonist? My Hero Academia has always portrayed Bakugo as someone who's above Deku, and that's something that makes this exploder one hell of a badass. Appearances don't lie, and one look at Shizuo would tip you off that this is a man you don't want to piss off. Incredibly impulsive and hot-headed, Shizuo is exactly the kind of person who has the tendency to explode in a snap. Hot-headed personality aside, Shizuo also brings an air of sincerity and bluntness to complement his otherwise basic personality. His attitude quickly puts him at odds with his rival, the sly and cerebral Izaya, and the two quickly hit the ground running in their hatred for each other. Their battles are tales of legend all across Ikebukuro. It's a perfect match between clever manipulation and earnest power. Few powers say badass as much as super strength, and Shizuo has that in droves. In terms of physical prowess, no one in the Durarara universe can even come close to this badass blonde. Highly competitive and an extremely driven go-getter, Vegeta easily qualifies as a hot-headed character. The famous "It's over 9,000" scene says it all, with Vegeta crushing his scouter in sheer intensity. Even in battle, he's as intense as DBZ characters go, easily trumping his rival Goku in terms of being a combustible element. Needless to say, Vegeta's one hell of a badass character. Yeah, he jobs a fair amount of time, but those losses are mostly to the credit of even his tougher opponents instead of him being a poor fighter. I mean, in a vacuum, Vegeta is truly one of the best Dragon Ball has to offer. It would be tough to top Vegeta in terms of hot-headedness and badassness, but when I think about someone who could have overcome Vegeta, one name comes to mind.
おめえのスタンドは被害者自身にも法律にも見えねえしわからねえだから俺が裁く
Protagonist of Stardust Crusaders, Jotaro remains unmatched, being the epitome of manliness himself. Perpetually angry, he starts off isolating himself for fear of his power harming anyone. He's gotten into a fair share of fights himself due to his attitude, something that reflects in the nature of his stand, Star Platinum. Even his battle cry, successive yells of are a telltale sign that this guy has an ever-burning heart that's nigh impossible to put out. Then how badass is Jotaro really? Well, he outright stands up to Dio himself, firing the now famous meme of their confrontation. The seemingly unstoppable vampire doesn't faze him, instead urging him to keep going and allowing him to come out on top. And if that doesn't scream badass, I don't know what does. Jotaro's truly the epitome of manliness in anime, and I doubt anyone can top this one anytime soon.
助の領収書だぜ
Seen characters that you expected? Cool. Know some that didn't make the list? Well, that's to be expected. Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it from you. So I'd love you guys to get discussions going through the comment section below. Trust me, even I know that a list of 10 characters isn't enough to put together anime's best of the best in just this archetype. Now, imagine more common archetypes like the childhood friend, the stoic rival, or the tsundere love interest. Man. Anyway, that's got to do it for now. I hope to see you in the next video.